Well, I suppose the issue is around stigma in terms of getting people to acknowledge that they do have mental health issues or concerns. A majority of our referrals come through from GP practices as well as secondary mental health services. We see it's a constant stream of the genders coming through on those referral systems and things like that. But since we've started the Reach Out, Start to End Suicide campaign, we've become more aware of the gender bias towards men in terms of suicide rates. We actually find that men are 3 times more likely to take their own lives through suicide than women. This basically comes back to the issue around stigma. It's about men feeling that it's a women's issue in terms of talking about feelings. So there is that stereotype of men having to be these strong stoic types and live that stereotype through. But what we find is we're not seeing the men until they're actually at crisis point. So whether or not they actually do lose their lives through suicide because of their mental health, or basically we find them at a crisis point where they are sort of in dire need of help and support. So we're not actually seeing that earlier interventions where men can be supported through earlier diagnosis, which makes it easier to treat their mental ill health as well. I suppose it is that stigmatising of the mental ill health, but also suicide, and it is about men not actually seeking the support as freely as women do. They're not as open, they don't have the support structures that women have in place, where the gender bias comes through. So men find it more difficult to talk about their emotions and their feelings than women do. So basically we find that the support structures, because some of the statistics we've found is that men, I think it's over 1/3 of men with mental health issues either didn't disclose or took over 2 years to disclose to family, friends or loved ones that they were experiencing mental ill health problems. Failing that initial support structure there, it makes it more and more increasingly difficult to support people through mental ill health. So what you find is that people again are leading to a crisis point where the support will finally kick in. So we'd actually see men with better mental health and well-being if we had the earlier intervention. So if they could openly talk about what they were experiencing and seek and reach out for the help and support, which again we're trying to do with the stigma that we're trying to get through and move beyond that, and just basically get people to freely open and express when they do need extra support, and also letting them know that there is support there and what support is available and how they can contact it. I think a lot of it is about conditional behaviours as and when we grow up. There is the stereotypes and the roles that go along with those in our current society that sort of makes that masculine male role incredibly independent, forthright, and basically almost indestructible, if you like, whereas most women are more open about their feelings and are brought up to talk freely about them. Of course, not all women or all men are in those categories, but again, it's I think that bias interferes with people about mental ill health, and when they can and will discuss that they are experiencing issues. One of the biggest problems we're facing at the moment around suicide is in the workforce of construction and contract workers. So what we're doing is we're actually going to take a bit of a roadshow, if you like. We're calling it Builders Lunch. So we're going to take free pizza around to some of the building sites over the next spring, and we'll be openly discussing with them around support services, suicide prevention strategies, and just promoting a better sense of well-being, but also starting those conversations with them. So hopefully, as and when they're needed, they will be able to sort of locate those support services that are available for them.